Alright, lastly today we're going to check out multiplying a binomial times a trinomial and taking a trinomial times a trinomial. So this is a binomial times a trinomial, a two-termed expression times a three-termed expression. And the best thing to do here is you could do a massive distributive property where you take 6x plus 5 and distribute it to each term, and you could do it that way, and then do three separate distributive properties within that, and then combine things. But what I highly recommend doing here is setting up a table, or at least thinking like this. So what I'll do is take the binomial piece and do 6x plus 5. So take each piece in that table. And then the trinomial part will go across the top. 2x squared minus 3x minus 4. Alright? So what this actually does is it takes each piece. So for instance, I'm going to do 6x times this, times this, times this. And then I'm going to do 5 times this, times this, times this. And then I'm going to look to see if I can combine anything. So that's another route you could go, the way that I just showed you. If you'd rather do it like that and keep everything kind of linear in one line, you can do it that way. But the table sets it up very nicely. And the biggest part that helps out with the table is all the signs go along with each term. So that's important, as you know. All right, so if we go the table route, or whichever route you choose, this is what we should come up with. So first, let's take the two first boxes here. 6x times 2x squared. So I'm going to do 6 times 2 and get 12. And then I have x to the first times x to the second. Well, that is x to the third. All right, then I'm going to move to the right. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. And then I have x to the first times x to the first times x to the second. And then I'm going to take 6x times negative 4, which is negative 24x. All right, so we got that figured out. Now I'm going to move down and then do my first two boxes, or the 2x squared, the first column and the last row here. So 2x squared times 5, or 5 times 2x squared is 10x squared. 5 times negative 3x is negative 15x. And 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Alright, and now typically what happens with these is you look at the stuff in the middle, all surrounded by the black lines in that table, and we look to see what we can combine. Typically, it's going to be the diagonals. So for instance, I can combine negative 18 and 10x squared. I can combine those two. So I would start writing this out. 12x to the third doesn't have a partner. I'm going to do that. Leave that out front. And then 10x squared minus 18x, or 10x squared plus negative 18x is going to be a minus x to the second power. Alright. And then I can also combine my two terms that have just one x with them. So negative 15x minus 24x, or vice versa, or adding those two together, we get negative 39x, or minus 39x, and then we end off with a minus 20. And there's our final answer. Alright? And we do the same thing essentially. Well, and as I said, you can do this different ways and get that same answer. But we do the same thing essentially when you have two trinomials multiplied together. I'm not going to go through the full answer here, but you will see if we set this up. And it doesn't matter what you put where. And negative 1, as long as you put everything together where it should be. Alright. Okay, so moving real quick here. 6y to the fourth, 10y to the third, and I should put pluses there, minus 4y to the second, 9 did most of the work anyway, very quickly anyway. So 6y to the fourth doesn't have a partner. 9y to the third plus 10y to the third is 19y to the third. Negative 3y to the second plus 15, that gets me to 12y squared. And then minus 4 is plus 8y squared. Negative 5 plus negative 6, or negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11. And then we have a plus 2 hanging out. And that would be our long answer to this trinomial